I was at work in Advance, Missouri. I worked at a little restaurant called Helen's Cafe. And when it came over the news, there was so much commotion and emotion in the restaurant that they just almost shut it down.
I was in the bedroom making my bed, and the TV was on in the living room, and I remember thinking that I heard that, but I really couldn't believe it, so I dropped everything and ran into the living room and immediately started crying because it was just such a sad thing to happen, and a sudden, unexpected thing, you know. And it disrupted my entire day, I can tell you that.
At that time, I was working for McDonnell Aircraft in St. Louis in their engineering department. And I was just passing down through a hallway when someone approached me and told me what had transpired.
I was 14. I was in my English class at Sykeston in Mrs. Sullivan's class, and I remember it came over the intercom that the president had been shot, and we just all started crying. We were all so upset.
And I was in Sykeston also. I was at my mom's house, and I had to go pick up my husband for lunch, and were watching the TV, and it seemed unreal. It was, we just couldn't believe it. We were just all sitting around the table, talking about what was happening, and
I had just gotten married in September and was living in an apartment in North St. Louis County, and I was watching TV. My daughter was 2 years old at that time, and I was home alone with just her and watching TV, and that came over the news, and it was just unbelievable. And the image that they keep showing even today of Jackie going to the back of the car, the trunk, area, that's just so vivid and has never really left my mind, that scene. And so it seems impossible that it was 50 years ago. I kind of lost track of how long ago it had been, but it seems like only yesterday.
The President of the United States, our leader, had been assassinated. It was just terrible.
You know, when something like that happens, you automatically, back then especially, assume that a foreign power is going to, come at America without the leadership and control.
The whole Camelot thing, a young, vibrant, good-looking president and a beautiful wife and these two darling children, and it was just...
I think it just put everybody in shock with John F. Kennedy because he was sort of a superstar kind of president at that time, and just the whole thing, his youth and good looking, his wife was good looking, the family was just good looking, and it was just a sort of a story or a fairy tale event with them. I mean, everybody loved him. I think everybody loved him, and it was just such a shock to think that anybody in America could want to shoot our president, because everybody loved him, as far as I knew.
And it was just very shocking too. I think now we're so desensitized to things like that happening, but back then we weren't. And it was a very shocking thing for him to be killed.
It was almost like somebody next door that you knew, and to have to watch them And I kept thinking he'd be okay. I kept, I really didn't think that he would die. Of course, at that time, we didn't know how badly he had been injured. And I kept thinking, well, he can't die. It'll be okay. And just, but it wasn't.
And the family, the Kennedy family, there was just a mystique about them. And Jackie Kennedy and President Kennedy were welcoming people into their lives. They were approachable and available. And I think the country just had hope that things were going to be better. And that was a day that changed everything.